first, get a beer.
That's step one if you ask Timothy Shore at Buried Acorn. He started his brewery back in 2017 and advised that before someone should even think about starting a brewery, they need to develop their palate or taste for beer.
Your sensory ability to taste it and identify when it's not quite right, maybe when you want to tweak something. The most important tool that you have is your senses, both smell and taste.
Once you're prepared to start brewing, you need at least 4 ingredients: barley, hops, water, and yeast. There are also numerous steps to the brewing process that Timothy will show us, including mashing, the boil, fermentation, and canning. The barley is involved in the first step, which has the seed go through a mill before being augured into a mash tun.
And this basically has a perforated screen type of a mechanism on the bottom that allows you to separate the physical barley seed from the liquid that you're trying to extract from it.
After resting it for about an hour, the next step is the boil kettle. After the process of taking approximately 750 gallons of wort to the kettle, a 90-minute boil will begin, which then brings in another ingredient.
In this time, you add things like hops for bittering, which you would add at the beginning of the boil, and then hops for like aroma and flavor would either come right near towards the end, 5 minutes, or in what's called a whirlpool.
That whirlpool process requires a slight chill from the 212 degrees, but works for hazy IPAs, which have a big aromatic component. The heat exchanger comes up next, which produces cold wort and hot water. The hot water is reduced for cleaning or even later brews.
Out of the heat exchanger, that cold wort will then go over here.
The over here is the fermentation vessel where yeast gets added. The sugar consumption process then occurs over a few days where the yeast makes, as Tim put it, a mess of the beer, which requires additional resting time of about a week. If it is a beer like an IPA, the vessel also is when dry hops are typically added.
So, and we'll put anywhere from 2 to 4 pounds per barrel into the dry hop to get these different aromatic components, different textures, different structures to the beer.
Chilling it down to around 31 degrees and then adding bubbles by using CO2 are the final steps before the beer is ready to be packaged and go to any of 3 places.
Now after the brewing process, there's still a little bit of work to do, and that's packaging. It can be put in a can, a bottle, or even a keg, depending on how you like your beer.
And then some of the beer, an IPA wouldn't, but some of our beers do go into oak, and they age there anywhere from 9 months to 4 years.
By oak, he means oak barrels, and these barrels are for aging the specialty products, the harder to find beer that Timothy wanted to be a part of his brewery. IPAs and lagers, though, make up the bulk of beer produced by Buried Acorn, since those potentially 4-year-long specialty beers are far less cost-effective.
And that is all I got.
In Syracuse, Sammy St.Jean, NCC News.